Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of The Swiss. Continuing on with the NBA playoffs. I'm actually recording this while the Celtics-Cavs game is still happening, so I can't tell you how we did on Wednesday night, but I actually got off to a rough start. I think I'm 1-2 in MLB so far. I got the Royals team total under, but I had 2 losses during the day games. So I'm 1-2 as I'm recording this. Hopefully by the time you're watching this, it was a good one. Just one game here, Minnesota-Denver, Game 6. Let's go.
Welcome to The Swiss. The Swiss. Hey, get the Swiss.
All right, like I said, Denver, Minnesota, Game 6. This game's in Minnesota. T-Wolves are laying 2 points at home, total sitting at 203.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet, and according to the model, we should see a 2-point Minnesota win. Final score, 109-107 T-Wolves. Injuries and inactives, and we'll start with Denver. Jamal Murray on the injury report again. He's been on the injury report the last 3 or 4 games, though, and he hasn't missed any of them, but he is listed as questionable. On the Minnesota side, we got Mike Conley on the report. He's listed as questionable as well, so we'll have to wait and see with him. So let's take a look at Game 6 here, and obviously, we all know how this series has gone down so far. Minnesota looked absolutely dominant in Games 1 and 2. Since then, it's been all Denver. They've won 3 straight. T-Wolves facing elimination. If we take a closer look at Game 5, you can see yet another Denver domination, shooting the ball very efficiently. 55% from the floor, 47.4% from 3. Outscored Minnesota in the paint 62-48. We saw Jamal Murray with another quiet, efficient night, 7 of 14 from the floor, just 16 points. There's a bit of a pattern forming there. Maybe it's because of the lingering injury, but he's taking less shots, but he's far more efficient. You can see in the first 7 games of the playoffs, he was averaging 20.4 points per game, but shooting just 37.5% from the floor, 28.6% from 3. In the last 3 games, his points per game are down to 19.7, but he's shooting 50% from the floor, 41.7% from 3. So it seems Jamal Murray taking less volume, but it's helping the team. And I mean, yeah, he could definitely afford to take some less volume when Jokic is playing like that. We saw the MVP look like the MVP in Game 5. 15 of 22 from the floor, 40 points, 13 assists, 7 rebounds. That was just a domination start to finish from Jokic. And this Nuggets offense as a whole looks just unstoppable right now. And it's so crazy because in Games 1 and 2 of this series at home in Denver, they had the worst offense in the playoffs of anybody in the second round. The last 3 games, they're averaging 114.7 points per game, shooting over 55% from the floor, 46.8% from 3. I mean, I don't know if those numbers are sustainable. We're talking about 3 straight games now. All 3 of these numbers are best in the NBA by far in that span. And the Minnesota Timberwolves offense has done the exact opposite. They're down at 98 points per game in the last 3, just under 47% from the floor, 33% from 3. That 98 points per game in the last 3 games, dead last in the NBA over that span. So in the last 3 games, the Denver Nuggets have been the best offense in the playoffs. And in the last 3 games, the Minnesota offense has been the worst in the playoffs. Now, if you're looking for something here, and I would imagine a lot of you are, after what we just saw in that Knicks-Pacers game, that series looked all Indiana. It didn't look like on paper the Knicks had a realistic shot. They beat the hell out of the Pacers back at Madison Square Garden. So here we are, same situation. It looks like it's all Denver. Maybe Minnesota shows up. So I know some of you agree with me with that feeling, but I need something else. You could look at wide open shots. In the last 3 games, look at the wide open 3-point attempts. In the last 3 games, Minnesota's had 39, and a wide open 3-point attempt is 6 feet or more of space, according to NBA advanced stats, by the way. So 39 wide open 3-point attempts. They've hit just 9 of them, 23.1%. Meanwhile, Denver's 22 of 46 from their wide open 3-point attempts. So very simply, one team is burying their wide open looks and one team isn't. So there could be some regression there. Back at home, Minnesota's going to knock those shots down. But I mean, it's tough because these beatdowns we've seen have been pretty substantial. It's not like Denver's just skating by here. They're beating the hell out of Minnesota. So I don't know if that's enough, but it is something if you're looking for a reason to bet Minnesota. I also have a trend here if you're looking to back Minnesota. Since 2003, teams that have won 3 straight games in a playoff series and are underdogs in the 4th. So that's this. Denver Nuggets have won 3 in a row and are underdogs in this game. They're just 6-16 straight up. 11-11 against the spread, so they've covered the number a bunch of times, but just 6-16 straight up. So historically, since 2003, in this type of instance, Minnesota wins this game. Is that enough for me to bet Minnesota? I guess. I'm going to do it. I'm going to back the T-Wolves here. I mean, after what we just saw in New York on paper and what we saw in the previous couple games, the Knicks had no business being favored in that game, and they came out and won comfortably. I mean, that was a beatdown start to finish. So after seeing that, after looking at the trends, a lot of regression as far as the wide open shooting, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the T-Wolves in Game 6. Give me Minnesota. I'll grab one of these -2s. T-Wolves up. As far as the total, I'm leaning towards the under. I'm leaning towards the under in every series right now. 1 second. Let me pull it up. So the total's at 203.5. It was at 204.5 in the last game. I would lean Denver team total under 101.5. In the last game, I leaned Minnesota team total under 101.5, and it would have hit if I bet it. So Denver team total under would be the lean as far as the total, but I'm probably just going to lay the 2 points with Minnesota. Live show, 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. We'll go through the NBA game, the WNBA game. There's one. It's Fever Liberty. So Kaden Clark goes out again. We'll go through the MLB games and NHL. So we'll go through all that on the live show, 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. If you're able to make it, would love to see you in the comments. If you want my top bets or the top bets from anyone on the staff here, head over to KyleKirms.com and sign up for Sauce Network Plus. Comes with the top bets from everyone here, access to the Discord, access to the spreadsheets, all of that. So head over to the website if you're interested. Let's have ourselves a great night here. See you on the live show, and I'll talk to you in the Discord.